Hey, what's up? This is Hunter with Tortoise and Hare Software, and today we're going to be talking about creating what I like to call a PRSTO brief. The full landing page copywriting framework that we've been talking about in a lot of these videos is the PRESTO landing page copywriting framework. Pain, resonate, educate, simplify, testify, offer. If you haven't watched the other videos, I recommend going and checking out each section video. But when creating a brief and kind of starting a landing page, I think the educate section is kind of like the meat in the hamburger bun, but the pain, resonate, and the simplify, testify, offer are kind of like the buns. So it's really like the start of the page and the end of the page. So I really like to kind of create these things first in a brief, because they really help get aligned on the content of the educate section, and I think just lead to better quality outcomes by kind of following this method and creating this PRSTO brief and then coming back at the end and creating the educate section. So we'll just kind of walk through a PRSTO brief and go from there. All right, let's hop right in. Alright, so I've got a little template here, just a Word doc for a PRSTO brief, and we're going to use some of the content that we created throughout some of the demos in the Presto landing page videos and start filling this in, and then also just kind of fill out a few of these gaps here. So, who is this page written for? Throughout the video, we made used the example of a local Winnipeg IT company and kind of worked on building a managed IT support kind of page for that case. The landing page is written for small business owners in Winnipeg, Canada, that are struggling with IT issues and have been relying on a break-fix IT approach and are investigating transitioning to a managed IT service offering to bring some stability and eliminate growing pains. So, to transition to a managed IT service offering to bring some stability, prevent IT issues, reduce cyber risk, and eliminate growing pains in their business. What is their primary pain point? System downtime, lost productivity, IT frustrations. Our headline, we're going to come back over here to our chat that we did and pull the headline and sub-headline that we generated throughout the video. So, managed IT services that solve problems before they disrupt your day. Sub-headline, prevent outages and protect profits with proactive IT management. CTA, let's just go with talk to sales. Resonate section. So I'm going to come down here. We worked on the resonate section within the video and kind of did a demo there. Let's see if I can pull that, and we will put in a resonating paragraph here. Okay, so how does the prospect feel about their pain point? Frustrated, exasperated, like it's long overdue to address these IT problems. What are some of the questions we could ask them to bring their, pain point top of mind. How have you been managing IT in-house? And why is it not working? Say no data points for this one. Simplify. If the prospect were in a room with just their thoughts, what would they really want to happen to alleviate their pain point? Be able to turn over IT responsibility to a third party and not have to think about it. Headline. For the simplify section, we kind of did, again, a demo there. And then we landed on this. So we'll go with this headline and this sub-headline. And CTA, top 2 sales. Just going to make up a testimonial for now. Brand name has been an excellent IT provider, highly responsive, and quick resolution times. And then offer. What is the prospect's end goal? To find a partner they can trust and delegate IT responsibility to, so that they can focus on growth. Vet an IT partner and their culture fit would be the next step to kind of get them to that goal. Develop a short list of providers to choose from. What can we help them in it to advance toward? What can we offer to help them advance toward accomplishing their goal or moving to the next step? We can offer them a half-hour discovery call to investigate culture fit and discuss current IT setup and perceived needs. Okay, since we did not do an offer yet, we will say create an offer, half-hour discovery call to investigate culture fit. Book a IT discovery call. Let's go with that. In just 30 minutes, we'll review your technology landscape and explore how we can support your long-term growth. Fine for now. And we don't need a specific CTA there. Okay, so I'm just going to save a copy of this as a starter PRS TO brief template. Okay, and then I'm going to upload that to our Presto AI tool here. and say generate an education section based off this PRS TO brief. And boom. If we just kind of try and rip this out without creating this PRS TO brief, it's just harder to kind of tease the AI to make some like halfway decent content. But if we give, some information up front, we can get some, better outcomes from this. And then this is much more tunable with an education section. But I can already tell by, looking at this is a good start. We can also do something like stay focused. So I'm just basically telling the AI to be a little bit more focused on the local stuff. And then it's just kind of working in some Winnipeg keywords here. And if we want to just say like, we can ask it to, add in a little bit more education sections. We got our FAQs here. We can tease those out, but like you can see that it's kind of generating like digestible chunks of content, which again are much more translatable into those left, right, lefts and card blocks and bulleted lists and things like that you're going to need to translate this into a web design. So again, that's just kind of an overview of like, why I think doing the PRS TO briefs and kind of doing like the buns, the top and the bottom, are a good way to get aligned on everything, and then feed that to the Presto AI model, and then ask it to do the education section last at the end. So this is good when working on a team, because if you've got a strategist who's like in charge of getting the page done, communicating with a web developer, communicating with a designer, things like that, you might have a bunch of moving parts. So, getting aligned on a PRS TO brief before, starting the page is a good way for you, like as a strategist, to communicate with like a copywriter, for instance. And then once you have everything aligned on the PRS TO brief, then you can kind of proceed to making the education section. Because, I've done this exercise with a bunch of contractors before. And if I just ask them to do a full Presto kind of like landing page right out from the start, it just like they waste a ton of time creating the education section. It just takes forever to kind of get this on track. So doing the Presto brief kind of up front and getting aligned on the beginning and the end and the kind of the vision, if you will, of the page overall is like a much more digestible task for one. It's easier to provide feedback and get everybody kind of on the same page. And then when you go and ask them to do the copy for the educate section, it just leads to far better outcomes and helps you get things right the first time. So that's really the function of the PRS TO briefs. And again, they're very powerful, and it's a good way to kind of get aligned on things before asking people to really fill out the meat and potatoes of the page, which is the education section. So, try the kind of PRS TO brief approach and build the, basically your above the fold landing experience, initial resonating paragraph, and then that like simplify, testify, offer portion of the page. And that's really, again, the top and bottom, and then go back and do the meat and potatoes there at the end with the educate section. So hopefully all that makes sense. And yeah, we'll go to the outro here. All right, hope you liked the video. Again, we kind of covered developing a PRS TO brief is what I call them. It's basically like where we extract the educate section out towards the end and build that last, because it's just easier when working on a team of a bunch of different people to get aligned on stuff at a high level before kind of diving into the core content of the landing page, and it just saves everybody a bunch of time and leads to better outcomes. So check out the PRS TO briefs. If you did like the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And once again, I'm Hunter Nelson with Tortoise and Hare Software, and thanks for watching.